It is my honor to introduce Gary Stitzlein, a true friend, the recipient of the 2021 Pork Industry Excellence Award.
Well, I have known Gary for over 50 years, and it starts when he was a student at The Ohio State University, was on the Ohio State livestock judging team, and a very successful team, I might add. When Gary was at The Ohio State University, he actually was the herdsman there, and in that job, he coordinated a lot of the research that was being conducted by the faculty member in charge, and some of that research was in fact sponsored by the Ohio Pork Council. So we actually had board meetings out at the swine barn where Gary hosted us and explained what he and his team was doing as in the research area. And I would point out Gary was a true team member. I think the people at the swine barn didn't look at working for Gary Stitzlein, they looked at working with Gary.
Yeah, I think when you think of Gary and his roles, he was known before I came to Ohio State as being a very strong livestock proponent and swine producer, purebred swine. He and his family were engaged in activities that allowed them the opportunity to be engaged in the industry on a continual basis. He was engaged in the extension programs through our work there at OSU, as well as engaged in youth livestock and national shows.
Gary was tremendous in working with young people, and that came evident as he became one of the most prominent swine judges in Ohio, and he judged a lot of county fairs as well as the Ohio State Fair. And he had a unique ability to talk to each kid individually and found what they were doing well and described that to them, and he probably also made suggestions to them. But he was unique in that he talked to each kid that came through the show ring.
So I met Gary when I started at Combox almost 20 years ago. He and I worked together in the finishing side of the swine industry. And he was actually my very first day at Combox, I rode around with Gary. Made me understand that I made the right decision to come to Combox.
Gary was a person that was actually coming to Kalmbach as a retirement job, which is not very common. So he was coming in a full-time role with a lot of responsibilities, but this was his retirement gig after he had worked 25 years at the university and interacted with a number of students, a number of people. And then he also did a lot of judging and worked a lot with genetic companies and different things.
I would say Gary, as far as a family man, he knew what he was talking about. When we would have our discussions through the years about my daughter and as she was growing up through a toddler, and you could tell as we talked, he lived that every day with his kids, and you could tell that he was devoted to his kids. And even now when I talk to him, and he's got several grandchildren, that he's always at baseball games or football games or whatever it is, sports they're playing. He's always there, it sounds like, for him, and he's always enjoying talking about his grandkids and the accomplishments that they have.
Gary was a person that loved to interact with all forms of people, and especially farmers. Whether they were crop farmers, pig farmers, whatever farmers they were, Gary could sit down and talk for hours. So all of our contract growers, Gary had a passion to work with, and he would get so involved. Sometimes I think he would not even get his pig work done because they'd talk all day. But that was a great thing with Gary. He cared about our contract growers, their families, and all the things that they were going through in life, and he always kept the whole team in tune to the challenges that our customers were dealing with.
He is, frankly, the most friendly person that I know. I don't know of one person that didn't like Gary Stitzlein.
Well, when I think about the values of the Kalmbach, the very first value is to treat other people the way you want to be treated. And Gary absolutely embodies that value. He always treated everybody the way he wanted to be treated. It didn't matter if it was a freshman student at Ohio State University, or one of our customers, or one of our producers, swine producers that we work with every day. He treated them as if they were family. He treated them just the way he would want to be treated. And of course, the other value that pops right out at me is that we want to go the extra mile and do whatever it takes to satisfy our customers. And he was always going the extra mile and doing whatever it took to please our customers.
Gary is still very active in the community, and that in particular is at the Prospect St. Paul Lutheran Church. And some of my family members still go there, and Gary is very involved with the food bank and also has been on their board of administrators. And Gary, several days a week, shows up and helps with preparation for the food bank as well as distribution of the food, and his pleasant personality shines through as he greets people both that are helping with the food bank and also the clients that come in. Gary is very deserving of the Pork Industry Excellence Award because he follows in the footsteps of the many other people, and that he's been a leader in the industry and he excels. He just displays the leadership and personal qualities and traits that those that have received the award ahead of him have given.
Gary, I want to congratulate you from the bottom of my heart for this award and this honor. I can't think of anyone that is more deserving than you are, and I just know that Gene Isler is in heaven clapping along with me.